Hi, welcome back to Shannon's Plants Planting Time. How are you today? Today was the first day that I could feel fall in the air. Now, I live in South Carolina, which is a very hot and humid state in the United States, for those of you who don't know. And we pretty much have really high heat and a lot of humidity during the summer, and then we won't really have much of an intermediate space. It'll go pretty much straight to winter. We may have a couple of weeks of a fall, and then it will go straight to winter, and then it will be cold for a couple of months, and then starts all over. We pretty much are getting down to two seasons, which are winter and summer. But today was the first day that I felt just that hint of a little bit of fall in the air. So it got me thinking, what do you need to do to prepare your plants for winter? And, in the past winters, I guess I know a little bit about what to expect from my plants. But for those of you who have not been through winter, this might be kind of helpful. Or even those of you who have been through winter, this might be kind of helpful. So these are just some tips on how to either prepare your plants for winter or what to look for in the winter in your plants, so that you know what to do. So I've written some trusty little notes here, and we'll just go through them. So the first thing I want to talk about is light during the winter. Now, most houses do not get the light that they do during the summer, obviously. The days are short, and the light is not as intense as it is in the summer, because we are further away from the sun. So anyway, what can you do about that? Well, there's a couple of things you can do. First of all, you need to place your plants near a sunny window, but also keeping in mind that they don't want to come in contact with a frosted or frozen window, because it might cause cold damage on the leaves. So keep that in mind when you're placing the plants, on how close you're placing them to the window. But anyway, put plants nearer to a window. Make sure you clean that window inside and out to allow for maximum light absorption. Clean your plant's leaves for maximum photosynthesis. I know I always talk about this, but just for instance, the last couple of days we have been restoring our home that was damaged from a flood, and so I noticed when I watered yesterday, I had to do a mass watering because I kind of neglected my plants for a couple of weeks while I've been working on that, and they just had this layer of dust on them from the restoration that's going on in our house. The dust that's been kicked up from removing floors and all that. And so I really had to go through and dust my leaves because they just had a fine layer of dust, even ones far away from where we're doing, sorry about that, far away from where we're doing the work, those were affected too. So I always use watering day, even though it's hectic, to clean my leaves. I don't generally water all of my plants at the same time, so I do break it up. But yesterday was, it was a lot because I had to do all of my plants. And I dusted the majority of them while I was watering. So just keep that in mind. You want your plant's leaves clean for maximum photosynthesis of that lower amount of light during the winter. And for those of you who don't have grow lights, you may need to think about getting them. Or for those of you who do have grow lights, it is the time of year to pull them out and use them. I use my grow lights all year round, so that's not going to change for me during the winter. The amount of time I run them may, but not really. I'm a grow light person. I like a lot of lights. So anyway, yes, pull out those grow lights. In winter, watering is different. Plants actually tend to need less water during the winter than they do during the summer. So if you're an overwaterer already, this is probably going to pose a problem for you. This is the time of year you might really want to invest in a moisture meter, or really stick your finger way down in the soil to feel if it has dried out, because most plants need to dry out at least for the first few inches, if not the whole way. So it is really important that you test in the winter to make sure those plants are dry enough to water. And often dry homes can lead to people using humidifiers, and in a room where a humidifier is pumping out that moisture, plants also may need to be watered less in that room with the humidifier than they do if that humidifier isn't running. So if you're not used to a humidifier and you start running one, then just know that your plants may need to be watered less because of that humidifier. And when you water your plants in the winter, make sure you water them as thoroughly as you do in the summer. You should be running your plants under the water source, whether it be your tap or your watering can, and make sure that water comes out the bottom of the pot, and place that pot back in your saucer, and in 15 minutes you should go check to make sure no water has accumulated in that saucer still dripping out of the plant. If it has, you need to empty it so that you don't lead to any overwatering and root rot issues during winter. So those are just a couple of tips about watering. The other thing you need to look for is temperature. Obviously the temperature is going to drop. That's why I said any plants near a windowsill, I'm looking at mine, need to be maybe pulled back a little bit because you don't want them up against a frozen window. Normally, houseplants come from tropical regions where the plants are happy between 55 degrees Fahrenheit and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So know your individual plants and know what temperature they prefer. And if you have a room like I do that is not heated or cooled, because it is an old porch and therefore it doesn't have AC units or heaters in it, so I have to actually pull a space heater out here during the winter so my plants don't get too cold. So that's just another thing you need to think about during the winter or cooler months. It is time now to start pruning and repotting your plants for spring. Some plants go into dormancy during winter. This scared me last month. I thought I was losing a lot of my alocasia, and really they were just dormant for the winter. So know what plants you have that go into dormancy. Those also require very little, if any, water, and cactus definitely need to be watered less, a lot less in the winter, if at all. Some people go months without watering their cacti. I water mine, but very little during the winter. So the other thing you need to think about is pests, because increased heat from heaters, lack of sunlight, and increased humidity can all trigger a pest outbreak in your plants. So you need to be watchful of pests and don't let up on your pest prevention just because it's cold outside. I do regular pest prevention prophylaxis with neem oil, where, like I was talking about cleaning my leaves, I clean them with neem oil and a microfiber cloth, and because that doesn't leave any residue behind. And I take the neem oil and I either spray it on the leaves or the cloth, and I rub down those leaves, getting the back and front of them and the petiole and stems. So you try to do the whole plant. I know that some plants are big and bushy, and the best thing you can do is just kind of spray the plant down and let it dry. I try to take them to the sink or the shower and do this because it's easier, because it doesn't get everywhere. So anyway, your method, your choice of pest prevention is your own. I'm not going to push mine on anybody, but I do use neem oil. And if I have an actual pest outbreak, then I have a tendency to use something like Captain Jack's mite control or Captain Jack's dead bug. But yes, that is my pest prevention, is neem oil, and it cleans and shines the leaves at the same time. So you get two birds with one stone. So it is important to have plants in your house during the winter months. They really do a lot for the winter blues. They have been known to elevate mood and raise your spirit. And so it's important that we continue to care for our plants in the winter. It is just important to care for them in winter as you do in the summer when they are growing. Even if they are not actively growing, you need to care for your plants. So anyway, oh, and another thing, plants actually are known to fight off seasonal effectiveness disorder, which happens to people in the winter when there is not as much light as there is in the summer. So just food for thought. If you get a little winter blues, or even a little more than the winter blues, houseplants have actually been known to clean the oxygen and all kinds of things, and we'll go into that in another video about how houseplants actually brighten your mood. But anyway, that's it for this video. Please follow me on Instagram at ShannonCollier26, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And other than that, I hope to see you in the next houseplant video. Bye.